The warning lights flashed red across the control room of New Horizons Station. Commander Jake Morrison rushed to the main screen where his crew was already gathering. They all stared at the impossible sight floating in space before them. "Sir, it just appeared out of nowhere," said Ryan Torres, the communications officer. His hands moved quickly over his controls. No warning, no energy signature. 1 second empty space, the next second this. The alien ship was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. It looked like someone had carved it from a single piece of blue crystal. Light moved through its walls like water, creating patterns that hurt to look at for too long. But something was wrong. Large sections of the hull were dark and broken. Pieces of the ship floated nearby in the darkness of space. Dr. Lisa Campbell leaned forward in her chair. As the station's alien life expert, she had dreamed of this moment for years. First contact with an intelligent alien species, but not like this, not with a dying ship. "Are they trying to communicate?" Morrison asked. Torres nodded and pointed to his screen. "Yes, sir, they're sending signals on multiple frequencies. The computer is trying to translate now." The main screen flickered and changed. A face appeared that made everyone in the room hold their breath. The alien was tall and thin with skin that seemed to glow with a soft blue light. Its eyes were large and dark, and there was something in them that every human recognized instantly: fear. When the alien spoke, the computer's translation came through clearly. "Please," it said, and its voice carried pain that needed no translation. "My name is Kethvar. I am an ambassador of the Zephyrian Confederacy. Our ship is dying, and so are we." Morrison stepped forward. "This is Commander Jake Morrison of the Human Research Station New Horizon. We see your ship is damaged. Do you need medical help?" Kethvar's large eyes filled with something that looked like tears. "Thank you for responding, humans. Yes, we need help, but not the kind you think. We need something much more difficult to give." Dr. Campbell activated her recorder. This was history happening in front of them. "What kind of help do you need, Ambassador?" The alien's image wavered as their ship's power failed and recovered. "We need warriors, we need soldiers. We need someone to help us fight a war we cannot win alone." The humans looked at each other with confusion. Station Chief Emma Rodriguez stepped up next to Morrison. "Ambassador, I think there might be some mistake. We're scientists and miners, we're not soldiers." Kethvar made a sound that might have been bitter laughter. "I know how this must sound. The great Zephyrian Confederacy with technology beyond your current understanding, asking primitive humans for military help. But we are desperate, and desperation makes us do things we never thought possible. Tell us what's happening," Morrison said gently. The alien's face became grave. "They call themselves the Devourers. They are not alive as we understand life. They are machines, but not simple machines. They think, they plan, they hate. They come from the dark spaces between galaxies, and they have one purpose. They consume everything." Images began appearing on the screen behind Kethvar. The humans saw beautiful worlds with cities that looked like they were made of light and music. Then they saw those same worlds as burned rocks floating in space. "They arrived at our outer colony 6 months ago," Kethvar continued. "We sent our finest ships to stop them. The Devourers destroyed them all. We sent our battle fleets with weapons that can crack planets. The Devourers learned from every attack and grew stronger." Dr. Campbell leaned forward. "How many worlds have you lost?" 17, Kethvar whispered. 17 worlds with billions of our people. The Devourers take everything. They strip the planets bare and use the materials to build more of themselves. Every world they take makes them stronger." Torres was recording everything, but his hands were shaking. "How long before they reach your home worlds?" "Weeks. Maybe days." Kethvar's voice broke. "Our greatest minds, our most advanced technology, our most powerful weapons, nothing works against them. They adapt to everything we try." Morrison felt sick. "Why come to us? We've barely left our own star system. Our technology is nothing compared to yours." "Because," Kethvar said, "sometimes the answer comes from unexpected places. Your species is young. You think differently than we do. Maybe you can see something we cannot." Emma Rodriguez shook her head. "Ambassador, even if we wanted to help, we don't have warships. We have mining equipment and research tools." "I know," Kethvar said. "But please, will you at least try? Will you ask your leaders? My people are dying and I have nowhere else to turn." The control room fell silent except for the quiet hum of the station systems. Morrison looked at his crew and saw the same thoughts in their eyes. How could they say no to someone begging for help? But how could they say yes when they had nothing to offer? "We'll contact Earth immediately," Morrison finally said. "I can't promise anything, but we'll ask." Kethvar's relief was visible. "Thank you. I know this seems impossible. I know we are asking too much. But sometimes impossible things happen when good people try to help." "Can your ship hold together while we wait for an answer?" Dr. Campbell asked. "Our life support will last several days. Our engines are damaged but working. We can wait." Morrison nodded. "We'll get you an answer as fast as we can. Is there anything else you can tell us about these devourers?" Kethvar thought for a moment. "They are not evil, as you might think of evil. They do not hate us personally. To them, we are simply materials to be processed. That somehow makes it worse." The transmission ended, leaving the humans alone with the weight of what they had just heard. An entire civilization was begging them for help against an enemy that sounded unstoppable. "Contact Earth," Morrison ordered. "Priority 1 emergency, and contact the Terran Defense Council directly." Torres began working at his console. "Sir, what do we tell them?" Morrison looked out at the damaged alien ship floating in space near their station. Inside that beautiful, broken vessel was someone who had traveled across the galaxy to ask for help from strangers, someone whose people were dying while he waited for an answer. "We tell them the truth," Morrison said. "We tell them that first contact happened today, and it came with a cry for help we might not be able to answer." As the emergency signals went out toward Earth, none of the humans in that room knew they had just started something that would change the galaxy forever. They had no idea that the mining ships and research stations around them were not what they appeared to be. They did not know that humanity had been preparing for this day for decades. All they knew was that someone needed help, and they had to try to give it. In space, Kethvar's ship waited in the darkness, its alien occupant hoping against hope that these strange young humans might have an answer his ancient, advanced people could not find. The emergency call from New Horizons Station reached Earth in less than 4 hours. In the secure meeting room beneath the Global Defense Headquarters, President Helen Carter sat at the head of a table surrounded by people who held humanity's greatest secrets. "Show me the recording again," she said to General Lisa Hayes, who controlled the wall screen from her tablet. The image of Kethvar appeared once more, his desperate plea filling the room. When it ended, the silence stretched long and heavy. 17 worlds, whispered Admiral Tom Brooks. Billions dead. Director Maria Santos, head of Special Operations, leaned back in her chair. The question is not whether we should help them. The question is whether we reveal who we really are. President Carter looked around the table at faces that carried the weight of humanity's greatest deception. "How long have we been preparing for this exact situation?" 47 years, answered Colonel Jack Turner, humanity's expert on alien warfare. "Ever since we detected the first Zephyrian signals and realized we were not alone." General Hayes activated another screen. "Project Looking Glass has been our most classified operation. Every mining ship, every research station, every cargo vessel we've built has been designed for war." The screen showed technical drawings that would have shocked Commander Morrison and his crew. The peaceful research station New Horizon had weapon systems hidden in its solar collectors. The mining ship Prairie Wind that visited them monthly was actually a heavily armed battlecruiser in disguise. "The Zephyrians think they're talking to primitive miners," Admiral Brooks said. "They have no idea they just asked the most militarized civilization in the galaxy for help." President Carter stood and walked to the window that looked out over the city. Regular people went about their daily lives, unaware that their species had been secretly preparing for interstellar war for nearly half a century. Tell me about the Devourers, she said. Colonel Turner opened a thick file. Based on what the Zephyrian told us and our own deep space observations, they're self-replicating machines. They consume raw materials and convert them into more of themselves. They've been doing this for thousands of years, maybe longer. What makes them so dangerous? They learn. Every time someone attacks them, they adapt. The Zephyrians have been using the same types of energy weapons for centuries. The Devourers figured them out quickly. Director Santos smiled grimly. But they've never fought humans before. Exactly. Turner pulled up more files. Every alien species we've studied follows predictable patterns. They develop one type of technology and stick with it. Energy weapons, gravity manipulation, quantum fields. They become very good at one thing. And we're different? We're chaos, Turner said, with pride. We use kinetic weapons, chemical explosives, nuclear fusion, electromagnetic pulses, and about 50 other things all at once. We don't have one military philosophy. We have dozens. General Hayes activated another screen showing human warships in their true forms. Sleek, deadly machines covered in weapons that no alien had ever seen before. The Zephyrians think the prairie wind is a cargo hauler, she said. In reality, it carries enough firepower to level a continent. And that's one of our smaller ships. President Carter returned to her seat. What about Dr. Alan Foster's special projects? At the mention of that name, everyone in the room became more alert. Foster ran the most secret division of humanities. Military research. Project Sleeping Giant is ready for deployment, Director Santos said. We have 47 ships currently operating as civilian vessels. Each one can transform into full military configuration within minutes. The Zephyrians will think they're watching us hastily convert mining equipment into weapons, Admiral, Brooks added. They'll have no idea they're seeing carefully planned military engineering. Colonel Turner opened another file. But there's something else. Our psychological profiles suggest that humans are natural predators compared to most alien species. The Zephyrians are highly intelligent, but naturally peaceful. Most aliens seem to be the same way. What does that mean for the war? It means we think like killers and they don't. We've been preparing for the worst possible scenarios while they've been trying to avoid conflict. When it comes to actual warfare, we might be better at it than civilizations thousands of years older than us. President Carter was quiet for a long moment. What are you recommending? General Hayes leaned forward. We help them, but we do it gradually. We let them think they're seeing human ingenuity rising to meet an impossible challenge. We don't reveal the full extent of our preparations. Why not just show them everything? Director Santos answered. Because once they know what we really are, they'll never trust us again. Right now, they see us as potential friends who might help them. If they learn we've been lying about our nature for 50 years, they'll see us as a threat. She's right, Colonel Turner added. The Zephyrians are desperate now, but desperation doesn't last. Once the crisis is over, they'll remember that we deceived them. They'll wonder what else we're hiding. Admiral Brooks activated a star map showing human space. We have defensive positions in 12 star systems, hidden bases, automated weapon platforms, manufacturing facilities disguised as asteroid mining, operations. If we reveal all of this at once, every alien species in the galaxy will panic. President Carter studied the map. So we give them hope, not fear. Exactly. We send Captain Sarah Mitchell and her converted civilian ships to help the Zephyrians. They'll see brave humans improvising with limited resources. They won't see the most advanced military force in known space. What about the Devourers themselves? Colonel Turner's expression became serious. That's the real test. Our weapons are designed to fight enemies who use energy shields and particle beams. The Devourers sound different. They adapt to everything. But they've never adapted to us, General Hayes pointed out. They've never seen kinetic penetrators or fusion warheads. They've never fought an enemy that uses 100 different weapon types, Director Santos added. And they've certainly never fought an enemy that plans for decades in advance while pretending to be something else entirely. President Carter made her decision. We helped them. Stage 1 deployment only. 12 ships under Captain Mitchell's command. They maintain the civilian conversion story until further orders. What about the crews? Brief them on need-to-know basis. They'll be told they're part of a rapid response program using modified equipment. Only the senior officers will know the full truth. General Hayes nodded. I'll contact Captain Mitchell. Immediately. Her ship, the Liberty Bell, is currently operating near Zephyrian space. How long before our ships can reach the combat zone? 48 hours. The Zephyrians think we're gathering volunteers and hastily converting ships. In reality, we're just dropping the disguises from vessels that have been waiting for this moment for years. As the meeting broke up, President Carter remained behind with Director Santos. Maria, what do you really think will happen when the truth comes out? Santos looked out the window at the peaceful city below. I think we're about to find out if humanity is ready to be the galaxy's protector, or if we'll become something everyone else fears. And which do you think it will be? Both, Santos said quietly. Whether they like it or not, the galaxy is about to learn what humans are really capable of. After today, nothing will ever be the same. High above Earth, satellites began sending coded signals to ships throughout human space. The masquerade that had protected humanity for 50 years was about to end. The galaxy was about to discover that the friendly miners and researchers were actually the most dangerous military force it had ever seen. And it all started with one desperate alien's plea for help. Captain Sarah Mitchell stood on the bridge of what everyone believed was a converted cargo ship called Liberty Bell. Around her, 12 other vessels waited in formation near the edge of Zephyrian space. To any observer, they looked like a desperate collection of mining ships and research vessels hastily equipped with whatever weapons humans could manage. The truth was very different. Zephyrian command ship is approaching, reported Lieutenant Commander Pete Johnson from his weapons station. He had been briefed on their real mission only hours before. The shock was still visible in his eyes. Remember, we maintain the disguise until I give the word, Mitchell said to her crew. As far as they know, we're brave volunteers flying converted civilian ships. The elegant Zephyrian vessel moved alongside them with the grace of a bird in flight. Its crystalline hull caught the light from the nearby star and threw rainbows across space. Compared to its beauty, the human ships looked crude and industrial. Fleet Commander Zalthek appeared on the main screen. He was tall and graceful like all Zephyrians, with skin that seemed to glow from within, but his large eyes held worry and doubt. Captain Mitchell, he said through the translator, I want to thank you for coming, but I must be honest. I do not see how your ships can survive what we are about to face. Mitchell kept her expression calm. We may surprise you, Commander. Humans are good at making the best of what we have. Hope so? My scouts report that Devourer forces have entered the Altair system. They are already beginning to consume the outer planets. On the tactical display, Mitchell could see the enemy positions. Dark geometric shapes moved between the planets, of Altair like hungry insects. Even from this distance, she could see the planets changing as the Devourers stripped away their surfaces. How many ships? She asked. 47 large vessels, with hundreds of smaller craft. Each one is the size of your largest cities. Zaltek's voice carried pain. We have 31 ships remaining in our entire fleet. The human captain nodded. Then we better make every shot count. What's the plan? Zalthek activated a holographic display showing the Altair system. We will approach from the shadow of the gas giant. My ships will engage the main Devourer fleet, while your vessels provide support from long range. Support? Mitchell raised an eyebrow. Commander, we didn't come here to hide behind you. Captain, please understand. Your ships are not designed for this kind of battle. One hit from a Devourer weapon will destroy you completely. You can help most by staying safe and covering our retreat. Mitchell looked around her bridge at crew members who were struggling not to laugh. Her weapons officer Johnson was biting his lip to keep from smiling. These people had spent years training for exactly this kind of fight. We'll follow your lead, Commander, she said diplomatically. But if we see an opening, we're taking it. The combined fleet moved toward Altair. As they traveled, Mitchell watched the Zephyrian ships prepare for battle. Their weapons charged with beautiful displays of energy. Force fields shimmered around their hulls like soap bubbles made of light. "They really are advanced," said her navigator, Lieutenant Kelly Foster. "Look at those energy readings." "Advanced, yes," Mitchell agreed. "But they've been fighting the same way for centuries. They're not ready for what's coming." The Devourers came into view as they rounded the gas giant. Mitchell had seen the intelligence reports, but seeing them in person was different. They looked like geometric nightmares made of dark metal. They moved wrong, bending space around them in ways that hurt to watch. "All ships, this is Zelthek. Begin the attack." The Zephyrian vessels opened fire with weapons that painted space in brilliant colors. Beams of pure energy lanced across the darkness, striking Devourer shields in explosions of light that lit up half the system. The response was immediate and devastating. The Devourers fired back with weapons that seemed to tear holes in space itself. Dark energy bolts struck Zephyrian shields and began eating through them like acid. "They're adapting already," Johnson observed, watching his instruments. "The Devourer shields are changing frequency to match the Zephyrian weapons." 3 Zephyrian ships exploded in the first minute of combat. Their beautiful forms came apart in flowers of fire and crystal fragments. "Zalthek, to all ships, fall. Back to secondary positions," came the panicked voice over the radio. But the Devourers pressed their attack. More Zephyrian vessels died as the enemy weapons adapted faster than anyone had expected. Within minutes, half the alien fleet was gone. "Captain," Johnson said quietly, "we need to do something." Mitchell watched another Zephyrian ship die, its crew of hundreds vaporized in an instant. These people had come to humanity begging for help. They were dying right in front of her while she maintained a disguise. "That's enough," she said. "All ships, this is Mitchell. Operation Sleeping Giant is now active. Repeat, Sleeping Giant is active." Across the human fleet, things began to change. The Liberty Bell shuddered as hidden systems came online. External cargo pods detached and floated away, revealing sleek weapon arrays underneath. The ship's hull shifted and reconfigured as armor plating emerged from concealed compartments. What had looked like a converted cargo hauler became something that belonged in humanity's worst nightmares. Around them, 11 other ships underwent the same transformation. Mining vessels became destroyers. Research ships revealed themselves as heavy cruisers. The ragtag collection of civilian craft became a battle fleet that looked like it had been designed by predators. "Johnson, you are weapons-free," Mitchell said. "Show them what humans really brought to this fight." The Liberty Bell's main guns fired for the first time in combat. Instead of energy beams, they launched solid projectiles moving at a significant fraction of light speed. The kinetic penetrators struck a Devourer ship and punched completely through its hull, before exploding with the force of small nuclear weapons. The enemy vessel came apart in a way that nothing in Zephyrian experience could match. Not vaporized by energy weapons, but physically torn to pieces by raw kinetic force. "Direct hit," Johnson reported with satisfaction. "Target destroyed." The other human ships opened fire with weapons the Devourers had never encountered. Fusion missiles that burned hotter than stars, electromagnetic pulse bombs that fried electronic systems, kinetic kill vehicles that hit with the impact of asteroids. Most importantly, they fired different types of weapons from different ships all at the same time. The Devourers, who had been adapting to Zephyrian energy weapons, suddenly faced dozens of completely different attack methods. "They're confused," reported Foster, studying the enemy formations. "Their shields keep changing configuration, but they can't adapt to everything at once." Commander Rick Stone led the fighter squadrons that launched from hidden bays in the human ships. His small craft moved like angry insects, too fast and too small for Devourer weapons to track effectively. "This is Stone to all fighters. Remember, we're not here to look pretty. We're here to kill things that need killing." The tide of battle shifted as human weapons tore through Devourer formations. Ships that had seemed unstoppable minutes before were reduced to floating debris by weapons they had no defense against. On the Zephyrian command ship, Zalthek stared at his displays in shock. What are those ships?" "Those," said his tactical officer in a voice full of awe and terror, "are not converted civilian vessels. The battle that should have been a massacre became a rout. Devourer ships that had consumed 17 worlds found themselves outgunned and outmaneuvered by an enemy they had never imagined possible. As the last enemy vessel exploded, Mitchell opened communications with the Zephyrian commander. "This is Captain Mitchell. Area secure. Enemy forces eliminated." Zalthek's image appeared on screen, his large eyes wide with a mixture of gratitude and fear. "Captain, who are you people, really?" Mitchell looked at the debris field that had been a devourer fleet, then back at the alien commander who had just witnessed humanity's true nature. "We're the people you asked for help," she said simply, "and we're just getting started." Admiral Karen Stone arrived at the battle zone 3 days after the victory at Altair. Her flagship, the Sovereign, dropped out of hyperspace like a nightmare made of metal and death. The massive ship dwarfed everything else in the area, including the largest Zephyrian vessels. Captain Mitchell watched from the Liberty Bell's bridge as the dreadnought took position near their fleet. She had never seen the Sovereign in person before. Few humans had. It was one of humanity's most closely guarded secrets, a ship designed to fight entire fleets alone. "My God," whispered Lieutenant Commander Johnson. "How long have we had ships like that?" "Longer than you might think," Mitchell replied. She activated her communications system. "Admiral Stone, this is Captain Mitchell. Welcome to the party." Stone's image appeared on the main screen. She was a woman in her 50s with gray hair and eyes that had seen too many classified briefings. "Captain, excellent work at Altair, but I'm afraid the real fight is just beginning." On the tactical display, new contacts were appearing throughout the system. Dozens of devourer ships, much larger than the ones they had just defeated, were emerging from hyperspace. "They're learning," Stone continued. "The main devourer intelligence analyzed your weapons during the battle. These new ships have adapted countermeasures." Fleet Commander Zalthek's ship approached the human formation. The Zephyrian commander had barely spoken since witnessing the transformation of the human fleet. When he finally opened communications, his voice carried a mixture of gratitude and uncertainty. "Admiral Stone, I must ask directly, what are you people really? Those were not converted civilian ships." Stone looked at the alien commander with something that might have been sympathy. "Commander, we are exactly what Ambassador Kethvar asked for. We are the people who will help you survive. But you lied to us. For how long?" "For as long as we needed to," Stone replied without apology. "Your people came to us desperate and dying. Would you have preferred we said no?" Before Zalthek could respond, the new Devourer fleet opened fire. Their weapons were different now, designed to counter the kinetic attacks that had been so effective before. Dark energy shields absorbed the impact of human projectiles while return fire sought to overwhelm human defenses. "All ships, evasive maneuvers," Stone ordered. "They've adapted faster than we expected." The battle was harder this time. Devourer weapons tore through human shields and armor that had seemed invincible just days before. 2 of Mitchell's ships took heavy damage before they could pull back. "Admiral," called Colonel Sandra Price from the Sovereign's tactical station, "they're learning our patterns in real time. Every shot we fire teaches them how to defend against the next one." Stone nodded grimly. "Then we stop giving them time to learn. Price, activate Ghost Protocol." Throughout human space, automated systems that had waited decades for this moment came online. Hidden bases began manufacturing warships at a rate that seemed impossible. Weapon platforms concealed in asteroids revealed themselves and opened fire on Devourer scouts who had never seen them coming. "What is Ghost Protocol?" Zalthek asked over the communications channel. "Insurance," Stone replied. "We built an entire shadow military that could operate without human crews, just in case we ever faced an enemy that could adapt to everything we threw at them." The tide began to turn as ghost ships joined the battle. Unmanned vessels controlled by artificial intelligence attacked with perfect coordination and no fear of death. They used tactics no living crew would attempt, ramming Devourer ships at full speed or detonating their own reactors to take out enemy formations. But even this was not enough. The Devourer intelligence was too advanced, too quick to adapt. For every human advantage, it found a counter. The battle began to look like it might end in defeat despite humanity's revealed power. "Admiral," reported Dr. Robert Clark from his position at the science station, "I'm detecting massive energy buildup from the Devourer command ship. They're preparing something big." Stone studied the readings and felt a chill. They're not just adapting to our weapons. They're preparing to replicate them. The implications hit everyone at once. If the Devourers could copy human weapons and add them to their own technology, they would become unstoppable. Every advantage humanity had would become a weapon turned against them. "We need to end this now," Stone said, "before they learn everything. We know?" She opened a channel to Earth. "This is Admiral Stone requesting authorization for Project Deep Strike." President Carter's voice came back immediately. "Admiral, are you certain? Once we use Deep Strike, there's no hiding what we really are." "Ma'am, if we don't use it, there won't be anything left to hide." After a pause that felt like hours, Carter's voice returned. "Authorization granted, God help us all." Stone turned to her crew. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of. Colonel Price, activate the Titan-class vessels." New contacts began appearing on sensors throughout the system. Ships that were larger than space stations emerged from hyperspace. The Titan-class vessels were humanity's ultimate weapons, mobile battle platforms that carried enough firepower to sterilize entire star systems. Zalthek's voice came over the radio, filled with awe and terror. "How many ships do you have?" "Enough," Stone replied simply. The Titans opened fire with weapons that redefined the concept of destructive power. Gravity cannons that created artificial black holes. Antimatter torpedoes that turned matter directly into energy. Planet cracker beams that could split worlds in half. The Devourer fleet, which had seemed unstoppable moments before, was overwhelmed by the sheer scale of destruction. Ships that had adapted to every human weapon found themselves facing attacks that operated on fundamental forces of the universe itself. In minutes, it was over. The Devourer fleet was completely destroyed, their command intelligence scattered across space as expanding clouds of plasma. "All enemy contacts eliminated," reported Price. "System secure." The aftermath was silent except for the quiet hum of ship systems. The Zephyrian fleet floated nearby, their crews stunned by what they had witnessed. "Captain Mitchell," Stone said over the fleet channel, "take your ships and begin recovery operations. I need to have a conversation with our Zephyrian friends." Stone's image appeared on Zaltek's ship. The alien commander looked like someone who had just watched his understanding of the universe collapse. "How long?" he asked quietly. "How long have you been preparing for war?" "Since the day we detected your first radio signals 50 years ago," Stone answered honestly. "We knew we were not alone, and we decided to be ready for anything. All those years you let us think you were primitive. You let us believe we were the advanced ones. Would you have treated us as equals if you had known the truth from the beginning?" Zalthek was quiet for a long moment. "Probably not." "We didn't lie to hurt you," Stone continued. "We lied to protect ourselves. And today that protection saved both our species." Ambassador Kethavar's voice came over the channel from his damaged ship. "Admiral Stone, my people owe you a debt we can never repay. But I must ask, what happens now?" Stone looked out at the debris field that had been a Devourer fleet, then at the Titan-class vessels that represented humanity's true military might. "Now we make sure this never happens again," she said. "The galaxy has learned that humanity exists and what we're capable of. Some species will be grateful, others will be afraid. But everyone will know that when someone asks for help, we answer." 6 months later, human ships patrolled the trade routes between dozens of star systems. They still looked like civilian vessels to casual observers, but everyone now knew what lay beneath the surface. The Terran protection protocols offered humanity's military umbrella to any species facing extinction-level threats. The galaxy had gained a protector, but at the cost of its innocence. The universe was no longer a place where the strong simply consumed the weak. Now there were humans, and humans had their own ideas about how civilizations should treat each other. And in quiet moments when Admiral Stone looked out at the stars, she wondered if they had revealed too much too quickly. The galaxy now knew what humanity was capable of when pushed to their limit. She hoped they would never need to find out what humans could do when they really got angry.